Hi guys, welcome to another video. Is it fair that only VIPs get access to LV, Louis Vuitton, MURAKAMI pieces or any launch from any fashion house? Is it fair? Let's get going. So for those of us that are luxury lovers, unless you have been living under a rock, you will know that Louis Vuitton are bringing out a 20-year anniversary of the Murakami collection. So they have re-envisioned it and everything else, and it's coming out in the new year. Pre-orders opened at a different time for different places, I understand. I think in the UK, I think it was the 3rd of December. It was early December. So I have seen so many reports online, on YouTube, on Instagram, TikTok, everything, talking about how people, the ordinary person that just wants to buy a bag, has absolutely zero chance of getting any of these pieces, because not only did they sell out in pre-order, they sold out so early in pre-order that even VIPs couldn't get their hands on them. So I just thought this was really interesting because I didn't have any issue with ordering these, but I will explain about my situation in a second, so wait for that. What I did here was, particularly in the USA, they seem to have a tier system where Louis Vuitton look at your spend history and they decide what tier of VIP you are. So I think I saw somewhere, don't quote me on this because I don't know if this is true, but I did see somewhere that if you were spending 100k plus, I assume that's dollars, and I assume that that is a year, or is it in total? Who knows? It must be. They must have some definition of it. So maybe if you're a 100k spender per year, then you had full access, early access to these pre-orders, and you would be guaranteed things. And then the tiers went down, and basically if you were then spending a certain amount, which obviously was less than the other, then at that point you were then allowed into the pre-orders, and off it went, different time zones of when you can actually put your order in. And therefore, even people who have spent a shed load of money at Louis Vuitton have literally no chance of getting anything. Never mind the ordinary person in the street who it may be their first ever Louis Vuitton purchase and they would love it to have been one of the multicolour pieces. So yeah, it just got me thinking, what is fair and what is not fair? So for example, do you think, guys, I want to open this up to you guys, do you think by spending a shed load of money at Louis Vuitton should open doors for you? It should give you better customer service. You should get early access to any of the pre-orders. You should be offered bags before somebody else might be offered one. Or do you think that anybody should be able to get anything that they want? And it is a tricky one, isn't it? Because part of it is it's going to be the same people over and over again that are able to get these things. And it's also, so is that fair? But on the other hand, so no, somebody else who may become a VIP who wants to spend a lot of money actually can't get any of these pieces in the first place. But what are they supposed to do? Buy a load of stuff that they don't want in order to ramp up the amount they're spending? It becomes a bit like Hermes in that case, doesn't it? And LV has never been like that. LV has always been, you can walk in and get most things, and they will always, that is my, let me just talk about my experience. My experience of Louis Vuitton has always been that you can walk into store and you can ask for whatever you want, and they can either try and get it for you or it's not available. But I know that having a relationship with a sales associate like James in New Bond Street, he massively looks after me, and I know that he does. And I think that is a relationship thing. I think it's a connection thing. I think, you know, I do spend a lot at Louis Vuitton. Don't get me wrong. You see what I unbox, but I am nowhere near one of the VVIPs. So if I was in America, I wouldn't have the chance of any of these things if it was very strict to the amount of spending that you do every year. I think this is a really interesting argument, because the people who do spend a lot, if you are a good customer somewhere and then you are not able to order something when a new launch comes out, wouldn't you as that person think, wow, I've spent such a lot of money here, not for that reason, but I am a good customer, so I do expect a certain level of customer service because of that, and it would be nice if I was offered certain things because I am a good customer and I've shown my loyalty to the brand? Or is it the case that no, that you've bought what you've bought at whatever point, and actually any person should be entitled to buy anything that they want? It's a very interesting dynamic, isn't it? I think it highlights itself even more when there is a huge launch like this one, the Murakami one. Some of the launches are, you know, not as hyped as others. This one is the biggest launch that I can even think of. There was the Kusama collection, which was, what was that, 2 years ago? Or was it 3 years ago? Anyway, it's something, it's a couple of years ago probably. And I remember that being a big thing, but this is even bigger. This is even bigger. It really, really is. There's been other ones over the years as well, but every so often there is one that is so hyped and it's so talked about, and I'm part of the issue. I'm part of the problem because I'm talking about it on my channel as well, and obviously I've ordered a couple of pieces. So it makes it very sought after, very hyped. Everyone's talking about it. So of course the marketing is insanely good at Louis Vuitton, isn't it? And we all want it. We all clamber for it, and they put the prices up and, you know, and everything else. But it does worry me in some respects that, you know, when I sort of put my pre-order in, it was, well, I knew when the launch date was because I asked my sales associate, and when it came through we sorted it and all the rest of it, and I was in Dubai at the time and time differences, and James worked with me on that, which I was very grateful for. But I didn't realise that everybody else would be in a tier system, and I don't think that happened in the UK, so I don't think that for me personally happened. But there will be a lot of people, particularly in the USA, as I say, who have completely missed out. Some, I think a lady was telling me in Canada, the pre-orders haven't even happened, and it is just, you know, happening either later or you can only buy stuff on launch day. So is it going to just make this frenzy of, you know, does it really put you off and think, I don't want anything to do with it, it's far too stressful? Or will you fight to the end to get one of those pieces? Yeah, but it did make me feel a little bit weird after I managed to place the order and realise so many people were having so many issues. I knew it would be sold out, and I knew it would be very, very popular. But yeah, the uproar over it has been quite interesting actually. What always gets me just on this thing of, for all fashion houses, is who is allowed, who is the most worthy to be offered these things. And Hermes is a really good example, isn't it? It's one of those things that you think, at what point are you worthy enough? And for me, I've always talked about this, for me it was always a connection, a relationship with the sales associate. And when my sales associate left at Hermes, everything changed. Overnight, everything changed because I wasn't passed over to anybody. The person I finally was connected to, if you like, at the end of the day, she just didn't really want to know because she's probably got a million other customers. She doesn't know me. She wasn't interested in helping me. So everything changed. So it was about the relationship, and that did irk me, because I felt like I'd been a good customer. So there is a part of it where you feel, if you have been a good customer, but then again, I also understand that somebody else might want to come in and buy whatever bag and be offered something for the first time ever. And I've got quite a few Hermes bags, so of course they should get the opportunity too. So, it is a really, really difficult one. But what does always irk me, I was going to say surprise me, but it doesn't surprise me, it just irks me, is that even though these are supposed to be tiers of people that have spent X, Y and Z in order to get offered a pre-order on something like Murakami, or as we say, get offered a quota bag in Hermes, how do the resellers get hold of these things? the resellers are not, and we know that they are not all people like me who's going, oh, actually, I'm not sure if I love this bag anymore, I'm going to sell it. So I go to one of the resellers and ask them to sell it on my behalf. There are store fresh bags constantly across the globe on all of these websites, in all of these stores, all the reseller stores. So not all of those are people who have managed to score a bag and decided to flip it for money. Some will be, absolutely, but most people, I would think, that get their Hermes bags, the majority surely are buying them because they want them. They want to be seen with them, they want to use them. So does that beg the question that personal shoppers have an in with all the top fashion houses, and that is how they are getting these store fresh bags? Maybe there's underhand goodness knows what going on, and you know, it wouldn't surprise me if that is what happens. But you will find that in Louis Vuitton, Murakami, as soon as it's launched, there will be bags galore going for stupid money on the resale market. Now, how have those people got those bags if they are not true Louis Vuitton customers, true VIPs? Because if you looked at my Louis Vuitton history, and you can see all the bags that I've bought, yes, I have sold bags in the past, but I have never bought a bag to sell it. I've never bought a bag and flipped it immediately. It's one of those where if something doesn't work out for me in the future and whatever else, but I buy the bag because I want the bag. I like it to have some comfort that if I change my mind at some point in the future, that I have an out and I can possibly sell it, but that isn't the reason for buying the bag. So I don't know, are the resellers VIPs because they buy so much from Louis Vuitton and flip them immediately, but they seem to be a VIP because they are spending? I don't know, but I want to know how, you know, let's just see on launch day. So in early January, I think they're coming out on the 3rd of January in the UK, or the 4th of January, something like that. Let's just see how many end up immediately on the resale market, because they are not true Louis Vuitton fans, are they? They are just somebody trying to make a quick buck. So how have they got their hands on these bags? Anyway, I would love to know what you guys think about this. Do you think that there should be pre-orders and these are only for existing customers? Do you think it's fair? Do you think they should just launch them and you have to queue up outside and have a frenzy that way? Because that would be so stressful. I wouldn't ever do that because it's far too stressful for me. Do you think you should be a good customer to be offered stuff? Do you think that you should be able to, as a new customer, come in and be treated exactly the same? What do you think? Let's see what happens with Murakami. I am very intrigued to see who got what, how they got it, and whether they sell it on immediately, and how much they try and get, how much to try and make from it. Be very interesting times, won't it? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on another one.